Look, this guy's he's one of the best players in the league, and he's gotten a lot better, I would say, over the course of his career. And, dynamic, explosive. A lot of words like that you can use to describe Lamar, and I have a lot of respect for his game.
Brian Flores should have a lot of respect for Lamar Jackson's game. It was Brian Flores' first game ever as head coach of the Dolphins, and it was the Ravens that came to town, and the final score was 59-10 because they dared Lamar Jackson to throw.
Yeah, right.
And he threw.
Right.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Remember that game?
Yeah, I do. That was the moment of like, okay, good thing he didn't play wide receiver. But that was it right there. But, I mean, the growth in his game has been great. We know that. He's always been great. It hasn't been perfect. He's not Tom Brady or Drew Brees. That's not what he is. He plays a different style. But, again, I don't know how you could watch even last year and then, of course, now into this year and not look at Lamar Jackson and go, I mean, he just continues to answer every question, and that's why he's in the MVP conversation. And to me, not even still getting to some of the respect he deserves. I think we said, 2 days ago, like, all these fourth quarter comebacks, I feel like if it was other quarterbacks, it'd be made a big deal. But for some reason with Lamar, it's kind of just like, I don't know. I don't get it. What don't you get? He's the team. He's the offense. He is it right now. They can't run the ball the same way they've been able to in years past. They're not as dominant in the traditional run game. He's running the ball. It's his run plays that are the most effective, and then, of course, his scrambling that's the most effective. So he's leading the team in rushing by a significant amount. And then, of course, his throwing has, decision-making has gotten better, and it was better last year. It's, of course, good this year. But the thing I think that's made it in a different level is stuff like this. I mean, I know this is week one, but his feel in the pocket and his control of the football consistently is top-notch. That's where, 10-yard out route, boom, on the money. It doesn't matter. There's not a throw you can look at and go, well, he's not as good at that one. No, they've gotten better in the pass offense. I think Greg Roman has opened it up a little bit. Hollywood Brown has got comfortable in the NFL. Mark Andrews is a good tight end. We know that. He's one of the best there is. And we see Rashad Bateman here jump on the scene a little bit. I mean, if Baltimore is going to make moves and get to the Super Bowl, it's because of one reason, and that's because of Superman, a quarterback. And I really love his game and what he's done, and he just continues to answer all the questions.
I think what happened was that narrative developed that once the Ravens fall behind, they can't come back.
Yes.
So Lamar Jackson
Right.
is the one who can't lead them back. And we're very lazy collectively, and I've been guilty of this over the years. Once we've taken the time to develop a conclusion on something, we never want to revisit it.
No, I know.
And we ignore any evidence. Again, this speaks to the broader problems we have in society right now. We ignore any evidence that would counter the position we've already adopted because we just don't feel like changing our mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to be a little flexible
Context
and recognize
matters.
that,
Right.
that as quarterbacks especially play more games in the NFL, they are going to improve because they get more experience. They understand situations. They don't freak out like maybe they would have when they were a rookie or, when they hadn't had the experience, and things slow down and their physical skills are still there. Lamar Jackson's physical skills are still at the complete full level capacity.
Right.
And he's played a lot of football, and he's learning how to get through these moments of adversity. And I don't know how many moments of adversity they're going to have tonight, but as we learned on Sunday and as we said an hour ago, you never know. It's all the more reason to watch and see what the Ravens can do. But, they had that ugly loss to the Chargers on the way into their bye. They could have lost to the Vikings, and now at 6-2, they still are very viable to be the 1 seed in the AFC. But if you aspire to be that, this is a game that you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
The spread's 7.5.
Right.
This is one you should win by double digits.
I know. Again, I'm not sure how dominant a football team they are. And just to go back to one thing you just said just a little bit, just to hit on that before I go forward here. Like, with the context situation, they are a team that's built to run the football. That's what they were built to do. So, of course, early on in his career when he's young and they're built to do one thing, they weren't great in the other area. It'd be like asking the Kansas City Chiefs, like, "What? You can't throw the ball. Why aren't you guys the best running team in football? How come you can't win games through the run game and just come back and win those that way? What's wrong with Patrick Mahomes? Why can't he check to the right run plays and get them going that way?" I mean, that's what it's like saying. It's ridiculous. They were built one way, and, of course, he played a certain way, and he's continued to adjust, and they've gotten better in the pass game to help him out. And, of course, he's gotten better as well. So that's the last thing I'll say about that. But, I do think the Dolphins match up somewhat here with this Ravens offense. I do. Like I said, first off, the Ravens are not as good a running team as the stats would tell you through the traditional run game. Give the ball to the running back. Oh, boom, up the middle, 8 yards, up the middle, 10 yards, up the middle, 12 yards. They're not that way. They're not the machine, the well-oiled machine we've seen in years past. And Miami has got some big people up front to where I would think they can feel comfortable about slowing down the run game. We know they got some good corners. That I think they could give the Ravens offense some issues. I do. Let alone, again, I still don't look at the Ravens pass offense and just go, "Oh, wow, it's the most creative thing I've ever seen in the history of football." So from that standpoint, just on that side of the ball, I look at it and go, yeah, I could see, the Dolphins defense making it tough on Lamar and company and making this game interesting. Certainly.
Could they be a team, we talked earlier about, is there somebody out there lurking that can jump into the Odell Beckham?
That's a good one. We haven't really thought about them. Yeah, that's why I am excited.
Especially if they see he's going to Kansas City.
I know.
They're kryptonite.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And we're just sitting here talking about how the run game is not the same from them. That they, if Sammy Watkins can get back and get healthy, that could provide that factor I think we're talking about. Because then when you get into, Lamar, Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, Sammy Watkins, you start to go, damn, that's a pretty good group right there. And they should be able to move the ball and create some mismatches and get some yards after catch, everything there. So it is an interesting thought, but I think they got the pieces there as long as they can keep them healthy and go forward here.
Yeah, and Sammy Watkins is expected to play tonight. He's officially listed as questionable. Bateman started to come on. He was injured the first part of the season. He drew a long interference call against Minnesota and had 5 catches for 52 yards. Hollywood Brown, though, had 9 for 116 against Minnesota. But you're right about the run game. Latavius Murray's doubtful. Le'Veon Bell came on. He had 48 yards on 11 carries and a touchdown against the Vikings, and they have Devontae Freeman. It's that 2016 Pro Bowl backfield they have, but it's not what they expected with the guys who ended up getting injured, whether it was Gus Edwards,
Dobbins,
J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And so you've got these veterans who are trying to help support Lamar Jackson. Let's flip it over to the Dolphins because Tua Tagovailoa didn't play in Sunday's victory over the Texans because of a finger injury. He's questionable tonight, short week, 4 days after he wasn't able to play. And some are wondering, is this really kind of like a benching? Is it a trial run for Jacoby Brissett? Are they trying to decide, before we go all in for a quarterback in the offseason, maybe we should decide whether or not Jacoby Brissett is a guy that we could build around. We had Ryan Tannehill and we let him go and look how good he is. Before we flush all the guys we have, let's come to the conclusion that they're not suited to be the centerpiece of our offense. I don't know. I mean, is cynicism justified here that they just maybe want to see what they have in Jacoby Brissett?
I don't think so. Because, again, I don't, I'm comfortable in saying I don't think, Tua is going to be like a superstar in the NFL and like the guy that we talked about where there's nothing there. He can make it happen and make throws that you just go, oh, my gosh, there was nobody open. But he still threw the 25-yard out route on the rope into a really tight window, and they got a first down. Is he going to be able to do that type of stuff? No. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I don't know exactly how they would know totally what they got from Tua yet. It's still, not a huge body of work. He does do some good things. He's not going to be Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow. That to me is not going to happen. So I can't imagine they would do that with Jacoby Brissett. At this point, I think we know what Jacoby Brissett is. I would think that staff knows what he is. They were with him in New England too. So I don't look at it that way. I would think they'd want Tua out there. One, because I think he does give them their best chance to win the football game. And two, who knows what happens in the offseason at the quarterback situation with all the things moving around. You might be the one, without anybody to sit in your empty chair there. So you need to build him up and see what he's got and get a better feel for the player altogether. So I have a hard time believing that's part of the conversation there.
Yeah, I don't know. Something just seemed weird about that because Tua didn't start.
Yeah.
They had a guy in the practice squad that they didn't call up to be the backup. So he was healthy enough to be the backup.
Yeah.
If Jacoby Brissett got injured, but he wasn't healthy enough to play, and they had no other quarterback they could have gone to. There was just something about that seemed odd.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know why. Even last week, I said this, going into the weekend, like I didn't even realize there was a thing with his finger until late last week. I really didn't realize that was on the radar. So that kind of caught me by surprise. In my guesstimation there, yeah, he probably could throw the ball to a degree, but not good enough to where you want to start. But, okay, damn, our starter gets hurt. Hey, Tua can go in. We will have to play the game a little differently and call some of the plays that, he feels comfortable with there. That's what it looked like to me, more or less. But, hey, this is, the thing that either way, whoever plays quarterback for them tonight, the Ravens defense is not the dominant defense we've seen from years past. There's no doubt about that. Even last week we saw what the Vikings did in the first half, making some big plays against them. But the problem with the Dolphins in this type of matchup, in my opinion, is just they can't run the ball. They're no doubt one of the worst running teams in football. They don't open up very many holes up front, and their running backs aren't all that talented either. So a lot gets put on the passing game, and to me, that's where you can get in a little bit of a danger area with the Baltimore Ravens, because now they can kind of pin it to, they're going to throw, and Wink Martindale can start to do some different creative stuff in the pass defense, and that's where the Ravens defense can be a pain in the butt. So I'll be interested to see how that goes tonight. But, Tua, Jacoby Brissett, hey, it's going to be the one thing we know about the Dolphins is here. It's two things, Jalen Waddle and Gesicki. All right, at tight end. Gesicki is one of the best pass-receiving tight ends in football. Waddle has definitely had a great niche in that offense, and they're going to feed them the rock left and right all game long. That's all they try to do. Every play is designed for those two to get the ball first, and that's going to be the interesting part, just to see what the Ravens do to combat that and try to take those two guys away.
We will have our official picks for the Thursday night game in the Joint Mega Picks podcast that tapes later this morning. The question is, do we believe that the Ravens will cover? I have a feeling we both believe the Ravens will win.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.